How brilliantly Pinto works with optical illusions. That is, you look at the thread, but it's made of bronze and surprisingly heavy. Especially, in fact, it's not even a showroom, it's a proper show palace, because it's a huge 5-story building. And here you'll find, I really like the table made from Mexican onyx. Its surface has craters, but they're not actually craters, they're... Hello friends, we're back in Paris again. Once more, we'll take a stroll through some truly wonderful galleries and showrooms. And of course, we'll visit the main event of January in the interior design industry. That's Maison&Objet. But we'll start with Maison&Objet in the city, that is, the city program. What really sets the city program apart? Maison&Objet in the city is a gallery where collectible design is showcased. Of course, you won't see anything like this at the exhibition venue. Most of the most interesting things are on the left bank, for example the Yves Gaston gallery, which, as always, features plenty of narrative-driven pieces, with such powerful storytelling and, of course, a wide variety of techniques used to create these pieces. That is, absolutely all possible materials are used. Glass in all its different forms, leather, metal, and combinations of all these materials. And of course, each of these pieces is a powerful accent in the interior, adding a sense of status or prestige, if you like. The Maison&Objet gallery is also quite good. That is an open stage. It's quite a new experience to me, and perhaps it's not actually particularly old or established in general, because it's run by 2 talented young women who also collect rather unusual pieces from a wide variety of different artists from many different countries. Among the things being shown here for the first time is a tapestry from the Brussels-based Crisp studio. It features various techniques and different materials. In a single piece, it looks very three-dimensional, very expressive, but at the same time the colour palette isn't that bright. So overall, the piece, in my opinion, is very, very elegant. Just like the Elegant Armchairs and Sofa by Faye Haley. It's a metal structure, quite a massive metal structure, but at the same time it's polished steel. And for the upholstery, they use almost unique and of course very expensive wool, alpaca wool, and what's more, it's hand-combed. Alberto Pinto is presenting a couple of new collections that are quite interesting, which showcase his historical expertise in working with various materials. But above all, it's about working with bronze. The first new piece is called Distress, which means threads. And here we can see these, enlarged threads that wrap around pieces of furniture. And they're made of bronze, yet they look quite light and weightless. They go perfectly with both natural stone and the second key area of expertise, Alberto Pinto, that is working with wood, working with marquetry. And this is a modern interpretation, whose image we can see here. This particular pattern, which is deeply traditional for Pinto, is a recurring motif, which he continues to develop and refine further throughout his collections. Consequently, each new collection naturally inherits various specific design elements from the previous ones. And we can see this grid both on the carpet and in the tableware collection, which, by the way, Pinto also works on. And as for the tableware, here as well. A couple of new collections have appeared. One of them was meticulously crafted in collaboration with the Austrian artist August Alexander, who carefully transferred his original artistic sketches onto the tableware. And the second collection is Vannery, which is a significant further development of an already existing collection, but with a brand new finish. The finish, by the way, is platinum. If you see shimmering metallic objects, you might mistakenly assume they're actually solid metal, but they're porcelain as well, just coated with platinum, which produces this stunning visual effect. That's where this metallic sensation comes from. And really, how brilliant is that? Pinto works with optical illusions. For example, you look at a thread, but is made of bronze and surprisingly heavy. Especially the little table displayed in the patio, it's simply impossible to lift. As you gaze upon the porcelain, it appears distinctly shimmering and metallic to you. It's another play on sensations. The second new release is the Interday collection. Interday is specifically about forbidden objects. It is unique interior decor that represents the organic shapes and silhouettes of natural artifacts, which are usually strictly prohibited from being exported. That is, things like intricate starfish, exotic shells, rare insects, and some protected plant artifacts. And all of this is meticulously crafted in solid bronze, so now there is absolutely no need to smuggle them out secretly anymore. It's an image recreated in bronze. As for the remaining items within this entire collection, I've already talked about it in one of the earlier seasons. If you're interested, feel free to have a look. It's also evolving, and brand new pieces are being added. Parisian passages are, without a doubt, a singularly unique and aesthetic pleasure. And within these historic passages, the extraordinary range of items on offer is actually remarkably and impressively diverse. So here you'll find clothing and various crafts, including participants from Maison&Objet event. And yes, you'll also find, for example, the talented independent designer Victoria Magnon, who specializes in crafting pieces from wood and glass, and it is absolutely a must-see destination. French artisans are truly skilled at wood. The things they do with solid timber are incredible. It's simply a sight to behold. At the same time, the forms might seem quite straightforwardly elegant and minimalist, but the execution is extraordinarily impressive, achieving a level of 100% absolute perfection. And as for the glass lighting fixtures, they're also strikingly beautiful and visually captivating, and truly unique in their design. And I'm sure you've recognized this place. This is the Palais Royal, and it turns out there are galleries in the Palais Royal as well. And one of them is taking part in Maison&Objet in the city. Quite an interesting approach. I'd even call it uncompromising design. So they invite young designers and offer them the chance to create a project. Naturally, there's a selection process, and then, once approved, they look for someone who can actually bring the project to life. I think it's a very interesting approach, because on the one hand, it combines collectible design, and on the other, it's still a manufacturing process. Although, of course, the collection is definitely limited edition. Of all the brand new items presented here today, I really like the modular sofa system, specifically because the individual elements fit together a bit like a classic game of Tetris. And, once again, in perfect line with modern design trends, there is also the very distinct presence of sleek, polished metallic elements throughout the entire piece. As we've already discovered and seen for ourselves, this is quite a good trend. This year, Philippe Hurel is presenting a remarkably fascinating and unique perspective, even an exceptionally profound and thoughtful conceptual framework, which is appropriately called Women's Perspective. They have invited 4 talented and emerging young female designers so that they could thoughtfully reinterpret, reimagine, and creatively redesign existing pieces from the permanent collection, and these women diligently got to work. They tweaked the shapes a little here and there, adjusted the proportions in some places, but mainly worked with colours and finishes. And as a result, they ended up with almost entirely new pieces. And I think firstly, it's really good that such attention is being given to women in design. This is actually quite important in Europe, because in Europe, designers, the architect of this field is typically male. In Russia, it's a bit the other way around, so I understand if you're a bit surprised right now. Well, so what? But in Europe, this is a significant aspect. The second thought, I think, is quite noteworthy, is that the women weren't asked to create something entirely new. Because, well, in reality, so much has already been created that, generally speaking, it's probably not necessary anymore. As they say, the world doesn't need a new chair. There were already plenty of chairs to sit on. But rethinking, the careful adaptation, the comprehensive renovation of some already existing collections, and perhaps even bringing them in line with certain modern standards. Sometimes it's about ergonomics, sometimes about trends, whether in color or in finishes. This is a very established practice in design. By and large, what do you think about this? As always, let us know in the comments. A few charming pieces are traditionally showcased in the Italian corner. First and foremost, there's the table designed by Angelo Mangiarotti. It's a reissue by the brand Mag Picasa. This is a table that was specially designed for Villa Schwab, and I must say, it doesn't quite look like the things we're used to seeing from Angelo Mangiarotti. That is, it has metal legs with handles, and is very minimalist. A marble tabletop. Naturally, the sizes can vary, and the marble can be different as well. Another reissue from Poltrona Frau is upholstered furniture designed by Jean Nouvel, called Touch. In its original conception, it was meticulously designed for a luxury hotel in the historic city of Lucerne, and now it's being brought back into production and reissued. And once again, it will be used in a prestigious French hotel, but this time it will be situated on the beautiful shores of Lake Geneva. Also quite minimalist, very architectural. Well, generally speaking, including Jean Nouvel himself. And of course, there are new pieces and a new level of comfort, because naturally, technology has changed over the past 25 years or so. And I also liked some Italian guys whom I'm seeing for the first time. They make interior pieces out of marble. That is small furniture, some benches, consoles, things like that. And very interesting lamps. Actually, marble lamps aren't new, but here even the base is made of marble. Marble, let's say, sculpted bodies, and also elegant marble lampshades. To be more precise, lampshades crafted from fine alabaster aren't exactly new either, but here there's a much fresher take on it, and there are some very charming, softly illuminated shelves. They're really quite lovely and sophisticated, and you can easily use them to add a very refined artistic accent to any living space. A couple of years ago, when I was carefully reviewing Paris Design Week, I visited a beautiful showroom. Dyson. Dyson is a designer lady who works with carpets, and at that time she was presenting a collection of gradient carpets, which generally speaking was quite in line with the trends. This time she has a rather random idea, as she puts it. But in fact, all the designs are united by one theme, in my opinion. Well, at least that's how I interpreted it. These are various interpretations, working with glass and with light. To be perfectly honest, while the glass shelves are quite simple and easy to understand, the rest of the components are significantly more shrouded in a sense of mystery. For example, an irregularly shaped carpet has a border around the edges, made from facets. Facets are generally, I suppose, an attribute of glass, but here these facets are coloured, and in general not so immediately recognisable. And another carpet is absolutely wonderful and truly magnificent, because at first you won't even begin to understand what it's actually about. There, the colours are layered over each other. It's as if fragments of coloured glass are laid on top of each other, and all of this is realised in wool. I think it's a very unusual idea. In the main gallery of Thierry Lemaire, we were there a couple of seasons ago as well, and here, in this location, he's showcasing new pieces. It's a sort of pop-up that's open only for the duration of the event, during the Maison&Objet in the City exhibition. The collection is called Dialogues, and here you have dialogues of cultures, dialogues of forms, dialogues of certain images, dialogues of materials. And overall, it looks, you could say, very convincing, prestigious, vibrant and sumptuous. All in all, it's very impressive. I really like the sofa, again made from alpaca. It would be quite accurate for you to say alpaca is the most popular fashion trend of this entire season, but I truly think if you have a substantial and flexible budget available, then this particular one has craters on its surface. But in actual reality, these are not merely simple craters. They are slender legs whose unique shape they have inherited from ancient vases, and they are actively attempting to break through this solid plane of dark onyx. Moreover, the surface itself has two finishes, bush-hammered and sandblasted, giving it a matte look that also brings out the texture of the stone. Very beautiful. And before that, I also visited another quite well-known French designer. That's Bruno Monard. The collection there is a bit more restrained, but there's also a kind of dialogue going on. A dialogue of materials within a single object. Very interesting work with veneer on the chest and prawls. I'm not sure if it's an idea or just a demonstration of modularity, but I like the sofa made up of two segments of different sizes. So that also adds a certain graphic quality and a kind of dialogue. And by the way, it's quite a compact piece, which in certain interiors, and particularly in Parisian interiors, can be quite relevant. And everything else is refined, delicate, and sophisticated. Basically, as always with Bruno Monard, and as always with the French. These are the kinds of locations I really love. This is a Catholic college, and there's a group exhibition taking place here. And it's a group exhibition in every sense of the word. In terms of the range, there are completely different companies involved, each working in their own field. And in terms of countries of origin, there's France, of course, The UK, some Spanish companies, the Dutch, and naturally the Italians as well. In the courtyard there are outdoor items, including both furniture and lighting. All in all, the lights are quite charming, I must say, knitted with a very pleasant shape. Of course, there's ceramic decor as well. That's provided by a remarkably elegant and stylish Italian company. And on the various floors inside, there are knowledgeable professional representatives who are actively showcasing and dealing with fabrics, carpets, and again, lots of beautiful lighting. And the lighting is remarkably diverse and varied. There are classic bronze fixtures, which France is rightfully and internationally celebrated for, as well as more contemporary and sleek modern interpretations. The British, again, are showcasing lights inspired by the modernist era. Overall, I wouldn't say it's a particularly unique selection. Here, of course, the real advantage is the location itself, the ambience, and this place somehow reminds me of Fedel Palette. In Copenhagen, where similarly, in an old building, an old palace, they basically put together this kind of eclectic interior mix. And there too, the participants definitely benefit from the ambience. And we'll finish our review of the showrooms, galleries, and the Maison&Objet in the City event on the Champs-Élysées, but in a completely untypical space, in a completely untypical showroom. Or rather, it's not even a showroom, it's a mega showroom, because it's a huge 5-story building. And here you'll find what is arguably the most famous of the premium American interior design brands. It's Restoration Hardware, or as they now position themselves, RH. But we all remember where it started. By the way, why did they switch to an abbreviation? Well, because Restoration Hardware sounds too vintage, even a bit antique, you could say, which in fact is exactly how they started out, with that very shabby chic aesthetic, which was in high demand and hugely popular about 15 to 20 years ago, and that's what made their name. That's actually where they made their biggest money. I think that, if not for any other reason, it's because today this is the most expansive and significant of the premium showrooms, premium furniture, and premium interiors in Paris. It's located in the most prestigious and exclusive location you could possibly imagine. Of course, here I would, if I were in the shoes of the French industry, a representative of the French industry, I would be deeply and seriously concerned, because this is without a doubt a monster. Restoration Hardware, or RH, has a turnover greater than the entire French furniture industry combined. And of course, they can afford to just open showrooms like this. I think they can even afford not to make money from them, simply to gradually conquer, using this very soft power, the French market, or at the very least, the Paris market. It should be said that this is not the company's first showroom in Europe. There's one in London, one in Dusseldorf, and even one in Madrid. Although I've been to Madrid 100 times and never come across it. But still, it's not a first. But it seems to me that this one has made a particularly strong impression, and perhaps it's a bit of a wake-up call. In terms of the space itself, well, naturally it's been done on a grand scale and to a very high standard. It's a restored building in the Art Deco style. There's been a lot of attention to detail, both in the entrance area and the landscaping. There's vertical greenery, patios, fountains, fireplaces, of course. It all looks really impressive. There's a separate pavilion for the design studio, so you can even have your interiors done here. So it's not just a challenge to the furniture and interior industry, it's also a certain challenge to the French design community as well. Although, of course, it's actually French staff and French designers working here. And as a rule, working at companies like these is quite a good starting point for beginners, for those just getting started. Their own career. As for the interiors, I wouldn't say that they're particularly impressive or outstanding, or that there's anything especially interesting here. The interiors are very consistent. The pieces are of high quality and also very simple, in a good way, of course. The fabrics, materials, and finishes are all simple, but everything looks respectable, considering that the origin of this furniture is mostly Asian overall. I can say for certain it's absolutely not Asian, it's 100% American. To be honest, considering how densely packed it is, all in all, with this space being filled with pretty much the same thing, I don't think it's reasonable. And in general, I think that when Restoration Hardware, or RH, moved towards this contemporary aesthetic, they may have, in some ways, lost something. But judging by the numbers, apparently, They lost something in some areas, but gained in others. Because of course, yes, in America this is the largest company, they have lots of clients and huge warehouses. And as I've already mentioned, enormous turnover. These are the kinds of metamorphoses happening here in Paris. I hope that overall you enjoyed this review, despite such an unusual introduction. Because whether it's restoration hardware, or some other American giant, or another international giant, there will always be connoisseurs of French savoir-faire, of French design, because it is absolutely unique and without a doubt deserves attention. Yes, it's not cheap, but as you know, good things never are. If you have any thoughts on this, do be sure to write them down in the comments. You can just leave something nice in the comments. I always appreciate that. Give it a like and share this video with your friends. Who do you think might find this information particularly interesting or useful? If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure that you do so right now to catch the other reports. From Paris, that's all for now.